What's up, boys? Tricks Ridiculous back with another video. So, Marvel's Avengers, free to play. Should it happen? When might it happen? Do I think it would be good if it happened? All of that coming up in this video. Before we get into it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. It greatly supports the channel and it'll keep you informed when we put out new videos. So, let's get into it. Should Marvel's Avengers go free to play? Well, I think, in my personal opinion, it's entirely possible that this game does go free to play down the line. And when I mean down the line, I mean at least 1 year after the launch. The reason I say that is because I do not believe that they can actually implement something like that prior to 1 year. I believe it is actually against Xbox and PlayStation's terms of service for putting a game on Xbox Live and on PlayStation Plus. I don't believe they're able to actually do that within a certain time frame. The reason I know that, if you remember Marvel Heroes Omega, so I'm sure a lot of people, who play this game have played Marvel Heroes Omega. That was on PlayStation and Xbox. I played on both PlayStation and Xbox back in the day. When the servers went down, it was actually the reason they went down within 1 year entitled every player, both on PlayStation and Xbox, to a full refund of all money that they put into the game. Because Xbox and PlayStation basically tell publishers of these games, you have to, keep your server up. You have to, support your game for 1 year at least prior to, post sale, right? So if they were to, move the game to a free to play model sooner than a year, I think they'd be in violation of that, and it wouldn't, players would be entitled to a refund. So I think if it does happen, it will be later down the line. But should it happen? Well, I want to go over a couple of pros and cons to it, right? So the pros. The big one, more players would be willing to try the game, right? You look at a lot of games that are free to play. Destiny, to some extent, is free to play, although you do have to pay for the expansions. Games like Path of Exile, League of Legends, Dota, all of these games, they're big games, right? And they are polished games. And more players just having access to these games will just mean a larger player base in general, and really just more a bigger community, more players for Crystal Dynamics, to manage, and who might be buying, skins and stuff. So definitely, benefiting them as well. And let's be honest, fast forward a year into this game, no one's going to be buying this game off the shelf for $60 or even probably $30. Even if the DLCs that come out between now and then are extremely good, which, hopefully they're promising, and hopefully by that time we've got a ton of new content, again, all free if you buy the game, but come a year and 6 months, come 2 years after launch, even if the game's $30, $20, no one's going to buy a super old game like that. So kind of putting it out there as maybe a year or a year and a half into the game's life, just saying hey guys, the game is now free to play, big news. I think that'll draw in a lot of new players, and especially if the content has evolved so much, to that point, I think that would really be beneficial to the game to have all those additional players, flooding into the community. The other thing, would be more customization, more skins. If they, drop the price tag and go solely on microtransactions, which we already know all DLC is free. So come a year from now, 2 years from now into this game, they're going to be supported, solely through microtransactions, right? So, if they do that, they're going to bring in more players, more people to potentially buy their skins, and probably more skins in general. Could also be even more customization options. Maybe we can customize our helicarrier. Maybe we can get decorations for the Quinjet while we're waiting between missions. Things like that. I'm just spitballing. Maybe some of that will never happen, but it's a possibility, and it's more of a possibility if the game goes completely free to play, right? Now, what are some of the cons to doing this? Well, The first one, and the pretty obvious one, is that you're going to piss off all the players who bought the game at full price. Now, that would include me, right? And I've actually bought the game on PlayStation and PC. But, it is what it is. Like I said, going back to my previous point, like, nobody's buying the game, a year from now for $20, $30, whatever price it ends up being on the shelf down the line. So what do I care about money I already put in, Like, at that point, I just care that the game isn't dead and that more players are getting into it. So I think that con is actually kind of a pro. The only other big con, in my opinion, is the slippery slope to pay to win. Now, I'll just say right up front, this just so there's no ambiguity, if this game ever goes pay to win, I'm out. Easy as that. I don't think it will. I don't think that that's something that this game can really survive off of. You see games like Warframe, extremely popular game. Warframe is pay to win, right? There's a ton of gacha games, Genshin Impact, whatever else, obviously, those kinds of games are pay to win. I'm not interested in that for this game. So if that does happen, I would be out. But I don't think they need to do that. I don't think that that's a necessity. If you look at a game like Path of Exile, for example, free-to-play game, anyone can play it. There's a lot of different things you can actually spend real money on. There are tons and tons and tons of microtransactions, as well as vault space upgrades. Okay, that's the big one for Path of Exile, right? So there can be like maybe very minor quality of life improvements that you can kind of maybe pay for in the game that don't actually affect your ability to win. Like, would you pay, $1 for 100 more pieces of vault space, right? I probably wouldn't, but maybe a year from now I might, right? So I wouldn't consider that pay to win, but it's a quality of life change. That's just an example if you were to mirror, what Path of Exile does. But as long as the game doesn't go pay to win, then I think it will be fine going free to play as long as it's supported solely via cosmetic only microtransactions. Okay. Now that's pretty much it. Again, this is not something I think anyone has to worry about or even think about for, at least a year. Right. But when we see, everyone wants to bring up, the player base is dropping, or, is the DLC going to bring players back? What's this? What's that? And it's like, I can make a million videos on this. Maybe the DLC can bring players back. Endgame will keep players back. This, that, the other. But I think just on a totally separate coin, doing something like opening the game up as a free-to-play game later in its life cycle is a move that Crystal Dynamics should seriously consider as a business. Because I do think that will bolster the community and really open the gate for a lot of additional players. But anyway, that's all I've really got to say on the topic. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Again, keep in mind, like, we're talking like future state of this game, like way down the line. But just interesting topic to think about. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Again, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks so much.